It was just another long, tiring shift for Emily, a single mom and struggling waitress barely scraping by. Between juggling late-night shifts and raising her 5-year-old daughter, she barely had time to breathe. Bills were piling up, rent was overdue, and she was running out of options. So, in a moment of desperation, she picked up her phone and typed a message meant for her sister, asking for just a little help. But exhaustion played a cruel trick. She didn't send it to her sister. She sent it to her ex-husband, the same man she hadn't spoken to in over 2 years, the same man who just happened to be a billionaire. Emily froze the moment she hit send. Her heart pounded. What if he thought she was begging? What if he laughed? Or worse, what if he replied? Back when they were married, before everything fell apart, she knew a different version of him. A man who once held her hand through the hardest nights, and then let go when she needed him the most. She never imagined she'd speak to him again, let alone ask him for anything. But when her phone buzzed moments later, it wasn't the cold reply she expected. It was something else entirely, something she didn't see coming. Because what he said next would turn her whole world upside down. And that message, just a single accidental text, was only the beginning of a story she never thought she'd live again. Emily stared at the screen, her thumb hovering over the message as if it might vanish. Asterisk, how much do you need? Asterisk, that was all it said. No anger, no judgment, no questions, just a calm, direct response from the man she thought had shut the door on their past forever. Her heart skipped. Why was he even replying? After everything that happened, the bitter arguments, the quiet divorce, the silence, this was the last thing she expected. They hadn't spoken since the day she left. Not because she wanted to, but because she had to. His world of wealth and power had swallowed him whole, and somewhere along the way, she stopped recognizing the man she married. But seeing his name on her screen again stirred something old, something confusing. Was this concern, pity, or something else? She didn't respond right away. She couldn't. Instead, memories flooded her of their whirlwind romance, the private jets, the promises, and then the slow unraveling that no amount of money could fix. Back then, he was too busy building his empire, and she was too lonely trying to hold their life together. Now, here she was, waiting tables, scraping tips, praying for enough gas to make it home. And there he was, just a message away, like a ghost from another life. But why now? Why asterisk that asterisk message? And more importantly, why was he so quick to help? Something about it didn't feel right. And deep down, Emily knew this wasn't just about money anymore. Emily didn't reply for 2 days. She couldn't bring herself to. Every time she opened her phone, her fingers froze over the keyboard. Was she walking into something she didn't understand? Or worse, something she couldn't walk away from again? Meanwhile, her daughter, Lily, kept asking why they didn't have milk for cereal or why the lights flickered when they turned on the heater. It was the kind of pressure Emily had gotten used to. But this message, it wasn't part of the plan. Back in the day, her ex Daniel wasn't just wealthy. He was asterisk untouchable asterisk, a self-made billionaire known for ruthless business moves and a charm that fooled even the smartest people. Emily had seen both sides of him. The kind man who used to rub her swollen feet after long days, and the distant stranger who started sleeping in the guest room just before everything fell apart. But now, after all this time, why would he suddenly care? At the diner, Emily tried to focus, but her co-worker Jana noticed her drifting off. "You look like you've seen a ghost," she joked, pouring coffee. Emily almost laughed, but her mind was still racing. She hadn't told anyone. Not about the message, not about Daniel. What if he wanted something? What if helping her came with strings? And deep down, there was something else gnawing at her. Daniel never did anything without a reason. So why now? As she clocked out that night, her phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't a question. It was an invitation. Emily stared at the message, Asterisk come to the penthouse. Tomorrow, noon. Asterisk, no explanation, no emojis, just his old signature tone, short, cold, and impossible to read. Her stomach turned. She hadn't stepped foot into that world in years. The last time she'd been in that penthouse, she was carrying Lily in one arm and a suitcase in the other, leaving behind a life that had crumbled silently around her. That night, sleep didn't come easy. Thoughts circled in her head like storm clouds. What if this was a trap? What if he wanted to use her situation against her, prove something, win some silent game only he understood? And yet, there was a part of her, buried under all the fear and resentment, that was curious. Had he changed? Or was this just another one of his power plays? By morning, she'd made up her mind. Not for herself, but for Lily. If there was even a sliver of hope for help, real help, she had to take it. She put on the cleanest clothes she had, pulled her hair into a neat ponytail, and kissed Lily goodbye, promising she'd be back soon. As the elevator climbed higher into the clouds, her heart pounded harder with each floor. The numbers blinked slowly: -29, 30, 31. The same gold-trimmed doors she once called home were now foreign, heavy with memories. When the doors opened, Daniel was already standing there, hands in his pockets, watching her silently. But he wasn't alone. Emily froze at the sight of the woman standing just behind Daniel, tall, elegant, and dressed like she'd stepped out of a fashion magazine. Her presence felt sharp, intentional. Emily's eyes darted to Daniel's face, searching for any kind of explanation, but his expression gave nothing away. The woman offered a polite smile, the kind that didn't reach her eyes. "This is Vanessa," Daniel said flatly. "My business partner." Business partner. The words echoed in Emily's head. The tension in the room shifted, thicker now. Vanessa extended a hand, but Emily didn't take it. Her instincts screamed that this was no coincidence. She wasn't just here for a handshake. "We've been following your situation," Vanessa said, her tone calm but clipped. "Daniel told me about your message. We believe we can help, but under certain conditions." Emily blinked. We. What did her personal crisis have to do with anyone else? Daniel looked at her, then glanced away, almost like he couldn't hold the weight of what was about to be said. "We're starting a new foundation," he said, "for single mothers. We want you to be the face of it." Emily felt like the floor dropped beneath her. Be the face? Of his charity. Vanessa stepped closer. "You'd have financial support, stability, but you'd need to be public. Your story, your image, everything." Emily's throat tightened. This wasn't an offer, it was a transaction. And suddenly, the message that started it all felt like the beginning of something much more dangerous. Emily's breath caught in her chest. Everything inside her screamed to walk away, to protect what little peace she still had. But then she thought of Lily, of the growing bills, of the fear in her daughter's eyes every time the power flickered off. She looked at Daniel, hoping for some sign that this wasn't just another business deal to him. His eyes finally met hers, softer now, almost pleading. "You'd have control," he said quietly. "This isn't about using you. It's about fixing what I broke." Emily didn't trust Vanessa, and part of her still didn't trust him. But something about the way he said it, how he acknowledged the damage, the silence, the years, shook her. She took a breath. "If I do this, it's on my terms. My story, my boundaries. Lily stays out of the spotlight." Vanessa opened her mouth to object, but Daniel raised a hand, silencing her. "Done," he said. "Whatever you need." For a moment, the room felt still. Emily had stepped back into a world she thought she'd left behind. But this time, she wasn't the same woman. She wasn't asking, she was choosing. The contract was drafted that afternoon. The money hit her account the next day. But just as she thought the worst was behind her, a call came in that night, from a blocked number. A voice on the line whispered, "You think Daniel did this to help you? You should really ask who's funding the foundation." And just like that, peace turned back into mystery. Emily didn't sleep that night. The call kept replaying in her head, twisting everything she thought she knew. The next morning, instead of going to the first photo shoot for the foundation, she drove to the building's finance office. A quiet conversation with a sympathetic employee, and a few questions later, the truth came out. The foundation wasn't funded by Daniel. Not fully. It was backed by one of his competitors, an investor known for sinking businesses through fake charities and hostile takeovers. The whole thing had been a setup. Emily was meant to be the public face, the emotional hook, the pawn. When she confronted Daniel, she expected denial, but instead, he looked devastated. "I didn't know," he said. "Vanessa handled the deals. I thought I was doing the right thing for you, for Lily." Emily didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just stood there, calm and clear. "Then do the right thing now. Shut it down." And he did. The foundation was dissolved within the week. Vanessa disappeared from the picture. And Daniel, for the first time, asked how he could truly help, not with contracts or publicity, but with real support. Quietly, respectfully, Emily agreed, but only under her terms: a new home, a stable job, and no more spotlight. Months passed. Life wasn't perfect, but it was hers again. She watched Lily sleep peacefully in a warm bed and felt something she hadn't in years: relief. Because sometimes the help we need isn't money. It's the strength to take our power back.